Welcome back, everyone, to Learn Spanish Like I Did, the podcast where we tackle those tricky bits of the Spanish language head-on. Today, Emilio, we're diving into what is arguably the Mount Everest for many Spanish learners. Por versus para. It's a classic, isn't it?
Oh, Wesley, it absolutely is. I mean, if I had $1 for every time someone asked me, which one do I use here, I'd probably be retired on a beach in Malaga right now. It's one of those things that native speakers just feel, but for learners, it can feel like a complete shot in the dark.
Exactly. And it's not just a beginner problem. I've heard advanced learners still trip over it. But I think the key, as with most things in language, is not to panic, break it down, and really understand the core concepts behind each preposition. They're not interchangeable, even though they both often translate to for or by in English.
That's the big confusion, right there, that single English word for doing so much heavy lifting. We need to untangle that. So where do we start? Should we tackle one first or give a broad overview?
Let's give a broad overview first. I always tell people to think of para as generally pointing forward, towards a destination, a purpose, a deadline, a recipient. It's about in order to, or for the benefit of, whereas por often looks backward or through. It's about the reason, the cause, the means, the duration, or movement through something. Does that resonate with your intuition, Emilio?
Absolutely, that's a brilliant way to put it, forward versus backward or through. I love that. It immediately gives you a mental image to latch onto. So para is like a goal, a target. Por is the journey or the reason for it. Let's dig into para first, shall we? Give me your top uses for para.
Okay, top uses for para. Number 1, and probably the most straightforward destination. If you're going to a place, you use para. Salgo para Madrid mañana. I leave for Madrid tomorrow. It's that clear sense of direction.
Yep, straight shot, destination. You're heading for somewhere, easy to remember. And it's not just physical places, right? It could be an abstract destination too, like this job is for me, in a sense of my path.
Precisely. Which leads us to the second big one. Purpose or goal. This is often in order to, or for the purpose of. Think of it as the why you're doing something, but with a future-oriented goal. Estudio Español para viajar a Latinoamérica. I study Spanish too in order to travel to Latin America. The purpose is future travel.
Oh, that's a huge one. Purpose. So if you're doing something for a specific reason that is a goal, para is your guy. Like, necesito dinero para comprar un coche. I need money to buy a car. The car is the goal, the purpose of needing the money.
Perfect example. And tied closely to that is the recipient. If something is for someone, as in they are the receiver or beneficiary, it's para, este regalo es para mi madre. This gift is for my mom. She's the recipient.
Another solid one, recipient. Gift for you, letter for him. Got it. What's next on your para list?
Next up, we have deadlines or specific future times. If you need something by a certain time, or for a specific date, you use para. Necesito el informe para el viernes. I need the report by Friday. That Friday is the deadline.
This one trips people up because por can also deal with time, but the key here is deadline, right? A specific point in the future by which something needs to be done, not a duration.
Exactly. You nailed the distinction there. And then we have opinions or comparisons. If you're stating an opinion for someone, or making a comparison, for a specific standard. Para mí, este libro es muy interesante. For me, this book is very interesting. Or es muy alto para su edad. He is very tall for his age.
That's a good one to remember. Para mí is so common. So to recap, para, destination, purpose, recipient, deadline, and opinion comparison. I often think of detail festi as a mnemonic for myself. Destination, aim, purpose, time, deadline, esteem, opinion, recipient, comparison, or just perfect, which is common, purpose, effect, recipient, future date, employment, comparison, toward a specific place.
Those acronyms can be super helpful for some learners, absolutely. The employment one is interesting there. Trabajo para Google. For example, you work for Google as an employer, indicating the beneficiary of your labor, or the company you're affiliated with, which aligns with recipient in a broader sense.
Right, you're performing work for them, they are the destination of your labor if you think of it that way. Now let's pivot to por, the other side of the coin. If para is looking forward, por is often looking backward or through. What's first for por?
Okay, for por. Number 1, cause or reason. This is the because of, or on account of. No fui a la fiesta por la lluvia. I didn't go to the party because of the rain. The rain is the reason, the cause.
This is crucial because this is where a lot of people mix it up with para's purpose. Para is why you do it, the goal. Por is why you couldn't do it or why it happened, the past cause, not the future goal.
Spot on. It's the motivation or the explanation for an action. Another common one here is gracias por, as in gracias por tu ayuda. Thank you for your help. The help is the reason for the gratitude.
That's a phrase every learner should ingrain, gracias por, never gracias para. Okay, next up for por?
Duration of time. Unlike para's deadline, por describes how long something lasts. Estudié por 2 horas. I studied for 2 hours. It's the period, the length of time.
Ah, the big differentiator from para's deadline. This is really important. Por for duration, para for a specific point in time or a deadline. I studied for 2 hours, but I need it by Monday. Clear distinction.
Absolutely. It's one of those pairs that often causes trouble, but has a very clear line in the sand once you see it. Next we have means or method of communication. Travel. How something is done, or the channel through which it happens. Hablamos por teléfono. We talked by on the phone. Viajamos por avión. We traveled by plane.
This one is easy to remember because it makes sense with the English by phone, by car, by email. It's the way you get something done. Any other methods, like sending something through an agency?
Exactly. You could say, lo envié por correo. I sent it by mail. It's the means. And closely related is movement through, along or around a place. Paseamos por el parque. We walk through the park. Hay una tienda por aquí. There's a store around here.
Ah, the through or by way of idea. So por is really about the path, the route, or the general vicinity. You're not heading to a specific point as much as you're moving within or across an area.
Spot on. It describes the general area or path, rather than a pinpointed destination. Okay, another huge one for por. Exchange or substitution. This is when you're trading one thing for another, or replacing someone's something. Pagué $10 por el libro. I paid $10 for the book. Or trabajo por mi colega hoy. I'm working for my colleague today. Meaning in their place.
This is a big one that constantly gets confused with para for recipient. If I'm paying for a book, I'm exchanging money for the book. If I'm buying a book for my mom, she's the recipient, so it's para. The distinction is key here, exchange versus recipient.
Absolutely crucial difference. The working for someone one is also a classic trick. If you trabajo para Google, you're an employee of Google. If you trabajo por Google in a sentence like trabajo por Google en este proyecto de caridad, it means you're working on behalf of Google for that charity project. But you might not be directly employed by them for that specific task. Very subtle, but important.
That's a fantastic example of the nuance. Okay, what else for por?
We've got unit or rate, often translated as per cuesta $5 por persona. It costs $5 per person. Or kilómetros por hora, kilometers per hour.
Right, like per unit or per measure. And finally, the last major one I can think of for por is agent in the passive voice. Fue escrito por Cervantes. It was written by Cervantes. That by is a dead giveaway.
Absolutely. If you see a passive construction, the agent performing the action is almost always introduced by por. So to summarize, por, cause, reason, duration, means, method, movement through, along, around, exchange, substitution, unit, rate, and agent in passive voice. Some people like the acronym et dice, qui differer. For por, around a place, through a place, transportation, reason, amount, communication, thanks, exchange, duration.
Wow, that's a lot of ground covered, but honestly, Wesley, the way you broke down the core concepts, para for forward-looking goals, destinations, por for backward-looking causes, means, or through movement, that's the real magic. The mnemonics are great for drilling, but understanding the underlying principle is key.
I agree. And the biggest challenge for learners isn't just memorizing lists, but applying it naturally. Let's run through a few quick examples where they often get confused. What about I work for?
Okay, so I work for Google is trabajo para Google because Google is the recipient, the beneficiary of your labor, or your employer, it's your professional destination, if you will. But I work for peace would be trabajo por la paz because peace is the cause, the motivation for your work.
Excellent. That highlights the distinction perfectly. What about going for something?
If I say voy para la tienda, I'm going to the store is my destination. But if I say voy por pan, it means I'm going for bread, as in I'm going to get it, to fetch it. The por indicates the object you're going to retrieve or the reason you're making the trip, not necessarily the final destination of the trip itself. You might be going to the store para la tienda for bread por pan.
That's a fantastic real-world example of how they can even appear in the same sentence, showing their distinct roles. It's all about context, isn't it?
It's always about context and listening too. Pay attention to how native speakers use them. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how you learn. Just try to internalize those core differences.
And remember, like everything in language learning, it takes practice. You won't master por and para overnight, but with consistent exposure and mindful application of these rules, it will start to feel more natural. Think of it like a muscle you're building.
Exactly. Don't get discouraged. This is one of the most common hurdles and everyone struggles with it, but you absolutely can overcome it. Just keep practicing, listening, and trying to apply these distinctions. You'll get there, I promise.
Well said, Emilio. And that wraps up our deep dive into por versus para. We hope this episode has helped clarify some of the confusion surrounding these two essential prepositions. Keep practicing, keep listening, and you'll be using them like a pro in no time.
Gracias por escucharnos, everyone, and we'll catch you next time on Learn Spanish Like I Did.